Well, happy Thursday evening to all you fine folks out there in YouTube and Facebook land. It's time for Charlie Platt and the Dirt Road Sports Show. It is March the 9th, Thursday night. It's 8 o'clock Georgia time. It's 7 o'clock Central Time, Alabama time, and Panhandle of Florida time. And you are watching the one, the only Charlie Platt and the Dirt Road Sports Show coming to you live tonight. And if you're watching on Facebook, if you wouldn't mind, do us a great big favor. Reach over and hit the like button, hit the share button on your Facebook page so that you share our broadcast with all of your friends on your page. Helps us to get our message out to an even wider and more diverse audience. And especially, we're trying to make sure that we're broadcasting live tonight in Martha's Vineyard off the coast of Massachusetts. And again, welcome, Charlie Platt and the Dirt Road Sports Show. We hope you, wherever you are tonight, I know some of you are in your home and you've invited us in. Some of you in your automobile, some of you are in your boat, your airplane, and even old Kenneth Spooner, who's listening tonight because he's having to feed chickens. We appreciate each and every one of you, no matter where you are, joining us in tonight for our live show. Man, we got a great hour packed full of stuff tonight. We're going to have a great time. No telling what's going to happen. This thing might come totally off the hinges, and we just have no idea when we begin a show what's going to happen. But we're coming to you live tonight from our studio at location unknown, our studio at 100% Flamingo Boulevard, and our studio at turn number 3 at the old Rocket Speedway in Dothan, Alabama. Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming live all across the great United States of America and in foreign countries where it is legal and illegal for us to broadcast. We're coming to you live in all 57 states, 5 foreign countries, 4 sunken islands, and even broadcasting in the great state of Baker County, Georgia, our faithful crew in Baker County, Georgia. And guys, I'm sorry to announce that we will not have a live rerun on syndicated television next week. We got preempted. So just wanted to let you know we will not be live on syndicated national television next week. But we're coming to you live tonight, the very first time ever. 131 and 2/16 inch TV live.
Right.
Live and in color. Are you ready, boys?
Ready.
Brand new customer. We're live at Ted's. Ted's. Track cleaning YouTube videos. Tar paper umbrellas. Trapeze school for the extra large. Tapioca flavored emu jerky. Tattoo rehabilitation for the elderly. Travel excursions to Detroit and San Francisco in Talking Rock, Georgia.
Man.
Ted is diversified.
I'm telling you, son.
Run it by me one more time, please.
All right. Tripe cleaning YouTube videos. Tar paper umbrellas. Trapeze school for the extra large. Tapioca flavored emu jerky. Here's a good one. Tattoo rehabilitation for the elderly. That's for somebody that got a tattoo when they 20 and it was a butterfly, and when they were 70 it was sagging and you couldn't tell what it was, so they kind of rehabilitate those tattoos. And then finally, travel excursions to Detroit and San Francisco in Talking Rock, Georgia.
Boy.
Yeah,
What kind of ride they give you on them tours?
It's a Mazda Miata, and the chauffeur has a mesh t-shirt and a pair of mesh shorts and flip-flops and white socks.
What does his tattoo say?
I love Ramon.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's it. That is it.
I love Ramon.
But guys, you are watching. Whether you realize what you've tuned into or not, if you're in Martha's Vineyard, we are Charlie Platt and the Dirt Road Sports Show live. We pontificate, we revelate, we opinionate, we do all kind of stuff on here. We tell the truth, and you will hear things and see things here that you can get at no other news source or no other television broadcasting station on the planet, right here on Charlie Platt and the Dirt Road Sports Show live. We're missing Queasel tonight. Queasel is again, he's competing. I don't know what he's doing this time, but he's off competing. So we'll see how that goes next week. So Charlie, take it away.
I think he's off counseling his favorite race car driver from up there in Dawsonville, Georgia, on how not to go snowboarding when you're getting several $1 million a year to drive a race car.
Yeah.
I thought that.
Yeah. What did you say, Floyd? Poor choices.
He chose Pulley. He chose Pulley. Hey, he's a big boy. We tried. We gave him every opportunity in the world to listen to our tutoring and our wisdom. But apparently he's done got made all that money, and he's got a mind of his own now, so he don't pay no attention to us no more.
Floyd, I don't remember us ever telling him that he needed to go snowboarding.
We didn't tell him. We never told him that.
I never heard y'all mention that in that conversation. Thing I remember most is when that conversation was over, the little kid looked at me and said, "Who were they?"
He knew then.
Oh,
he was overwhelmed.
Yeah.
he was. Yeah.
He was speechless.
At the minimum, he was overwhelmed. That's for sure. Now everything going pretty good over here. I don't know about over in y'all's part of the country, but I think them folks from North Georgia around the metro area, they have done dropped the green flag on them, saying that there ain't gonna be no sand left on the beach this summer. So they're all going down there right now, wide open. Y'all seeing some of that traffic through Colquitt?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
I was sitting at the drugstore pickup window the other day, right there. The pharmacist get me some medicine, and I looked over in the Hardee's parking lot, and here they come, whoom, whoom, whoom. About 3 of them lined up in there on big cars and trucks and everything. And they didn't park in the parking spot, the regular park. They parked sideways in there, and they got all they finally all of them bailed out and went inside, and some stayed inside, some stayed outside, some went inside. Anyway, I knew right where they were going. They headed straight to Panama City because that's a stopping point. Colquitt is a stopping point for them to get down there, and I hope they had a good time because it was a large group of them. They were going to have a big time. Looks like.
I'm looking forward to tonight's guest on the program. I want to yield part of my time to the guest tonight.
Okay.
Well, I think that's if I may, if it be my intro to talk about our guest tonight. A good friend of mine, known him since the Swamp Gravy days. He showed up unannounced to Swamp Gravy, and he passed the test to get into Swamp Gravy. And the test, the audition process that you go through is they put a mirror in front of your nose, and you blow on it, and if you fog the mirror, you get a part. And he passed that part, so they gave him a part in the play, and he did it as well as he could. I put it that way. He did the very best he possibly could. He is. There were several of us that played the plate breaking preacher. He was the only one that could not hit a brick wall with a plate and break it. So, but anyway, he's a good friend of mine, a good buddy of mine. I love him. He married a Miller County girl. He's married into a prominent Miller County family here. He's his mother-in-law was she was some kind of elected official here in Miller County. I don't know it. Tax commissioner or tax assessor, or she was a deputy sheriff. I can't remember what she was, but anyway, he married into that prominent family, and he loves to come to Colquitt. He loves to come to Colquitt, and it gives him an opportunity to come over and visit with me when he's here. It gives him the opportunity to leave, the round and come visit with me, and we kind of banter with each other. We're the same mindset. He and I are. Both of us together at one time, And it gets risky. It gets risky.
Risky.
But anyway, he's a good friend of mine. He's a podiatrist. He's a doctor. He's been practicing podiatry for, I don't know, 30, how long? For 40 years. So he's seen foot after foot after foot. But he's retired now, and he just lives all over the place. I mean, he made so much money being a podiatrist. He just lives from one place. He lived up there in Albany, up there in an exclusive neighborhood, up there, a big old mansion, gated mansion up there. Sold out from there, moved to where, Destin or Panama City. Then he moved to another place in Panama City. First time he was down in Panama City, I think it was a Jim Walter home you were living in.
Yeah, that's right.
He was at a Jim Walter home across the street from a motorcycle dive.
Yeah,
and that got risky for him because he had some shrubs around his house, and he'd get out there at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he'd be peeping through the shrubs at the motorcycle folks in the parking lot.
It's entertainment.
And he almost got killed.
That's
but
right.
his name's Dr. Kermit Ted Airy. And I've known him a long time, and he's got an interesting life. He has had one forevermore interesting life. And he came in over here about, I guess, 7:05, 7:10, and he started talking. He started telling stories that I never had heard. And you cannot make this stuff up. Now, what he has told me tonight in a span of about 30 minutes story, I found out a lot about him that I didn't know. And I'm going to let him share that with us. I'm going to try to keep him restrained, because Charlie, Ted and Marvin are a lot alike.
Oh, whoa!
What they lack in composure and finesse, what they lack in that, they make up for it with enthusiasm. So we go. I've got him here right next to him, and I hadn't put him on yet, but I'm fixing to put him on. I'm going to introduce him to y'all, and we're going to talk about his book. He's written a book, a great book. It's called Hellfire, Brimstone, and Fried Chicken: Growing Up Churched in the South, which there the book is, which a lot of us did. He's got some interesting stories in there, and some of these stories he's going to talk about tonight are not in the book. They should be, but they're going to be in another book. He and I are going to get together and write another book. But he's written a book and some great stories in there. I'm going to introduce my friend to y'all right now, and we're just going to kind of start. I'm going to start kind of at the beginning with him. I'm going to take him back to his youth, when some of his people, some of his kinfolks that he knew, and he remembers those stories. He's like we are, Charlie. He loves a good story, and he remembers those stories. He sit around and he observed things that were going on. I mean, he's done everything. He's stolen watermelons before out of a farmer's field. And here's the bad part about it, Charlie. He didn't steal them at night. They stole them in the daytime. Now how dumb is that? So anyway, stealing watermelons out of a man's watermelon field in the daylight. He's worn women's clothing. He's been all over the place. He's done all kinds of things, and he's lived a life. He went to podiatry school. First of all, he went to a college. What was the name of it?
Arkansas.
In Arkansas, he went to a Christian college in Arkansas, Marvin. He was going. What were you going to be, a preacher when you went there?
No, just
he just went.
College,
He was going just
liberal arts.
Listen to this. This is a Christian college teaching liberal arts. So that's where he went to school. I'll tell you something about his mindset. And then he left there. And listen to this. He left Arkansas, and to all the places in the world that he could have landed, he landed in Chicago, Illinois. He was going to podiatry school in Chicago, Illinois, at what's the name of the school?
Illinois College of Pediatric Medicine.
Illinois College of Pediatric Medicine. That's right. He went to get his degree. And while he was there, listen now, while he was there, we're going to touch on this in a little bit. He can't tell all this stuff tonight. There ain't no way to get it in tonight. We ain't got enough time. He worked at the Drake Hotel.
Bellman.
Let me tell the story now. Okay, you just stay there. Just hold on. I'm doing a pretty good job.
Hey, that sounds familiar. I'm usually the one getting scolded.
Just stand there. Just restrain.
Look at here.
What I'm telling you, just restrain yourself. See what I'm telling you, Charlie? So anyway, he worked as a a bellhop at the Drake Hotel in Chicago, Illinois. And he's got some stories in there. Now, there ain't none of these stories about the Drake Hotel gonna be in his book. Huh?
Some of them are.
He said some of them are, but he not the ones he told me. I don't think the ones he told me gonna be in there. But anyway, he got stories in there. But we're gonna take him back. And he actually shined. He actually. Okay, listen to this. You can't make this stuff up. This is irony to the highest degree. He was going to podiatry school and he had a shoe shine stand. How do you can't make that up? You can't make
No.
this up. Anyway, I'm gonna get him back and I'm gonna bring him in. And I want him to. We're not gonna tell. They already know about you stealing the watermelons. They already know about that. We probably not gonna talk about that. But we're gonna talk about your uncle. We're gonna talk about your uncle and the crow. We're gonna tell the crow story, the uncle and the crow story. And I'll try to lead him through so he keeps everything. I know the story because he just told it to me, but sometimes he jumps ahead. You know, he wants to, we'll try.
My wife is on.
She wasn't.
Carter's playing ball. He can't watch.
All right, here he is. Here's my friend right here. Here he is, Dr. Ted Airy, originally from Moultrie, Georgia. My good friend, just a wonderful guy in the world. I love to be around him. He's one of the best. If he won't make you laugh, let me tell you what, you got a cold tater for a heart. You going nowhere. But I'm on him. He's like me. He respected his older people, his older relatives, and he gleaned those stories that they told from their youth and from what happened to him. And he's told me a story in there a while ago about what was your uncle's name that caught the crow?
Grandfather caught him. Granddaddy caught him in Arlen. He took the words from Arlen. Arlen taught him to talk.
Okay. All right. Tell the story about what he did to it. You tell that story about the crow. This is a crow.
When I was a kid, there was a cage there empty and the door was gone. And I'd ask what about it, and they said that's where the crow was. I said, the crow? So that's where the crow was. Meanwhile, there's 500 flying in the sky, around. That's where the crow was. So what do you mean? It's a story. It's a story.
You got to come. You got to
come this way. Okay, great.
So you look at the camera.
That's it. I'm watching him.
That's
So the crow was captured by Granddaddy. This is back in about mid 40s. He was captured by Granddaddy, and Granddaddy from North Georgia had a way to make a crow talk. He said, you split the tongue. So he takes a little knife and he splits the tongue a half inch in where it's got two flapping pieces, a little tiny pieces on either side. Put him in the pen, lock the door. They'd let him out and he'd fly around, and he didn't say, he wouldn't say much. My uncle cut his toe and was screaming, oh, my toe. He was about 12, 14 years old. The crow started the next day. Oh, my toe. Oh, my toe. Oh, my toe. He said that every day. He lived for another year. He started saying, Mama, Dad. And so of all the sad things, the crow's life came to an end. They would let him out every day and he'd fly around and then go back in his cage, the one that the door is missing when I was a kid, it was still there, like a bigger chicken coop. And a hawk got him. The hawk carried him off. And he was screaming, Mama, when the hawk carried him off. A sad tale.
You can't make it up. I tell you.
And that's true.
Oh yeah, it's true.
It's true. He don't have to lie. This man does not have to lie because he's lived all of this stuff. He ain't like the rest of us. We have to make stuff up sometimes. And my Lord, I said, man, you get this. But can you imagine having a crow and you split his tongue and the crow talks? How much that crow would be worth in today's money? He could have went on tour with the crow and made a fortune with the crow if he hadn't let him out and let the daggone hawk kill him.
Yeah, they let him out. Don't let a crow out.
That's the moral of the story. Do not let a talking crow get away from you.
That's right.
It's money in the bank. But we were talking some more in there and about his book, and he says he's got some stories in the book about him living at the Drake Hotel, working at the Drake Hotel. Where did you live in Chicago? Where did you live?
A little further south than South Side. And I take a train home, and a damsel in distress ran in on the train and said, my husband, or boyfriend, something, is having an insulin shock attack. You got to get off and help me. And I jumped up, fixing to depart. And a man pulled a newspaper down. This was on South Side, about 63rd Street, Dan Ryan and all that. He pulled the paper down. He said, if you get off here, son, we'll never see you again. And then he stuck that newspaper back up and never said another word. I sat back down in my seat and told that girl, I said, I'm sorry, I'm not getting off.
Ain't you mad? That's why you sitting here right now.
That's right. That's right.
See, the good Lord put that man there with that newspaper. See, that wasn't an accident. He was there. It was an act of providence. He put that man there with that newspaper, put you there, and that man saved your life. Imagine that. See how it is? See how God
Could
works?
be.
See how God works? Man, he's so wonderful. But you lived at, what kind of house did you live in when you lived in Chicago? What was the arrangements?
Yes, very meager. Kind of like Eddie Murphy in that movie, you know, when he redid the inside of it, my inside wasn't redone. He'd say, welcome to America, and people would holler profanity at him. It was similar, you know. I learned you couldn't ride a bicycle on snowy streets.
But you would take the train
into Chicago every single day, and same people ride the train. A man would sit there and tear his newspaper into about 30 pieces, and I thought he was a mental case, you know. And then I realized he did it after he read it. He was doing it so nobody could read it.
They wouldn't go spend his money.
Isn't that amazing? That's amazing. You would think that way, you know.
So you ride the train in
and get a bus down to the school, and you get a bus to the school and do your work, and then walk up to the Drake Hotel and go to work there.
What, like at school? What did you meet any interesting people in school while you were there? Anybody that left an imprint in your life that you?
Yeah, I had a man come in that had a diabetic toe infection, and I came in, the toe was missing. And I said, what happened to your toe? He said, it's in the dressing. I said, where? He said, in your garbage can. Yeah.
Your toe come off.
I put on gloves and opened it up, and there was a little toe all shriveled up. He just did a self-amputation. Your body will get rid of a bad part.
You hear that?
Your body will work on its own.
Mm-hmm. So it's self-amputate.
Self-amputate, sure will. Did. And he healed up with antibiotics. Ooh. Did great.
How about that? What about anybody going to your school with you, like a student who went on to become a doctor of podiatrics?
Yes, you have a lot of interesting students, a lot of backgrounds in professional school, usually older people, pharmacists with degrees, and everybody was pretty much older than me. I'd gone straight through with 3 or 4 years of science courses, but we had a guy in there that played like F-string Chicago Bears, had knocked his kneecap off and went to podiatry school. And then he got in some way with the mafia and had a shootout in his office in California after he started practicing.
So now he played with the Chicago Bears.
F-string or whatever, way down the line. But he had no kneecap on the knee. And
can't play football without a kneecap.
You know, you can only study the leg. This is in the book. It's probably statute of limitations is out, I guess. You can only study a leg at school. An anatomy lab is only open certain hours. And he just said it was a leg. You know, I'm talking about a real leg. He said, I can't study that 5 or 6 hours a week. I got to have it at home. I said, well, what are you going to do? He said, I'm going to steal one. I said, well, don't steal mine. So he got him a suitcase coming in, went out with a leg he found in the corner, an extra leg, carried it home and set it on the refrigerator shelf under the chicken salad and kept it the whole semester. He dissected it and labeled it with little labels the whole semester. When it came in, and that thing's all dissected out, and he's got a bigger problem, what to do with the leg.
Yeah.
And then I heard he put it in a suitcase and left it at the train station. And then he watched the newspapers to see, surely, you know, it's going to be nothing. Chicago is probably nothing. They probably just found it. No big deal. Just a leg in a suitcase. Well, as long as the head's not here, we can't identify it, you know?
Yeah. You can't get in that footprint.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
and then he did what? He went on to where? He went
out to California and had a shootout. Man, you know, this was the dead truth. this is the honest truth. Somebody came in there and said we could get out and work for them for something 20 or 30% tax on everything we made. We give them 20,
The
30%.
mafia?
It was the syndicate.
Syndicate.
It was the
You
mafia.
work
They
for
will
them.
put you, Chicago, they will put you to work.
Put
And,
you through medical school.
they'll pay your bill and get you out and take 30, 40%. And I heard some guy did it. I thought that's crazy, man.
You didn't do that, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
We, you'd study in various places. We'd had our flashcards at the Drake, and they called me one night and wanted to go. Said we got something that may be an old test, and it was in a funeral home. Kids up there, students, friends of mine, would live in funeral homes for a free place to live, and then answer the phone all night.
Good.
And went up there, and they were all spread out on the floor looking at papers, and I looked at them and all, and they had us peep around the corner. They said Hugh Hefner's butler had died, and he was lying down there in state.
Uh-huh.
In the funeral
In the
home.
funeral home.
Yeah, right there, we were studying papers.
Uh-huh.
So it was very entertaining for me, man. Coming out of South Georgia, I had never seen anything.
Good
But
Lord.
he had the whole suit. Had the
Little bellman outfit.
Describe your suit that you
You
had.
had
when you were a
you had the
bellhop.
little red vest, had a sterling silver number on your shoulder, a lot of long black hair. I looked important. Didn't know what I was doing, but it looked like I did.
What about a hat? Did you have a hat on?
Sometimes a little round hat like Jerry Lewis would wear, in the movies. And it was quite interesting. We'd get some celebrities in there coming in,
Who'd you get? Who's celebrity?
We they'll send you up on a checkout. It was luck of the draw, It was a lottery system on checking out, checking in. They say front, but they'd always accuse us of rigging things because a couple of us podiatry students would always get these big tipper important celebrities, and I got sent up on a checkout on Lucille Ball. So I go up there, and the guard was at the door. He opened the door and just let me in there and closed the door. Left him. It was an empty room, in a suite. And I said, "Hello," and this voice says, "Come on back here, Sonny." It sounded exactly like Lucille Ball on my mama's black and white TV in Reedy Creek, Georgia. Went back there, and she was in there with her mother, and I helped them pack and get it together. And we went out with the cart. Little mother she was older than Miss Ball was, and took both the women down, got her on the elevator, and I was trying to think of something to say. You got to talk a lot if you're going to extract tip money. You got to talk some things. And I could talk to him a year later. I could talk to him about Jimmy Carter because he was going in. They'd hear me talking. Oh, they want to talk about Jimmy Carter. But anyway, I said to her, "Do you have a limousine at the front? Or are you going to the side entrance?" She hollered loud. Said, "No, Sonny, you're going to push that cart to O'Hare Airport." And then she let out that. And I mean, the walls vibrated, and her mama never batted an eye. I looked at her mama, and I could tell she'd grown up with her, And then she turned to me and laughed and said, "When we get down there, don't you tell my husband I gave you a dime." And then she slipped me a 10, which is a sawbuck in bellman lingo. So I put that 10 in my pocket. So I thought to myself, man, I'm going to get to meet Desi Arnaz. And so I get out there, and it ain't Desi Arnaz. I guess she done took off from him. He's gone. It was Dick Morton. So Dick Morton looked me over, a big tall man, and gave me a 5. So I never told him I got a thing from Lucille. Lucille, wave goodbye. So I went back in, told them all. I said, "I just checked out Lucille Ball. You get her autograph?" And I got thinking, shoot, I want her autograph. So the next day I went to the desk. Back then they sign in. There was no handler. They come in by themselves. They sign in. And I said, did Lucille Ball sign in? Big old flourishing signature, looked like John Hancock, and had her Beverly Hills address. So I just sent her a card. Said, "I'm the bellman, and you could get me fired, but I'd like your autograph." She sent me back a nice little letter. Sent me a picture. Said, "For Ted, love Lucy."
Come on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you were hobnobbing now.
Sweet.
It's a wonder you wound back up in Southwest Georgia after all that Chicago deal.
You'd be begging to come to South Georgia. You'd be begging to get out of there. Man, I was accosted. Had to talk a guy out of robbing me. Picked him up in a snowstorm in a Volkswagen. You realize how close you sit to somebody in a Volkswagen? He got in there. He was up next to me. He was Big Bad Leroy Brown. He was up next to me, and it was just snowing clumps. And I rolled down the window, on that side. I said, "You need a ride?" I said, "Yeah, man." He got in me. He leaned up at me. He says, "You got any money?" And I said, "You going to rob me and I pick you up in a snowstorm? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Man, I'm from Georgia. I'm a student. I'm broke." He apologized to me.
You talked him out of it.
Yeah, Leroy Bound. He apologized to me. He said, "I'm so sorry. I will not rob you."
How about the Lord did after you? The Lord had His hands on you a
Yeah, a
long
good
time.
bit. A
Yeah.
good bit.
No, the first time, number one, that farmer that y'all stealing them watermelons from in the daylight
Lord,
didn't
that was
shoot you.
bad.
That was y'all. You
Yeah,
dodged out
Lawrence
on that.
driving, hollered what to do. We'd filled up it with watermelon. Lawrence was driving. He hollered. The man got after us, and we were loaded down. That little old Falcon was sitting with the headlights up and back dropped. About 3 of us in there, 4 or 5 watermelons. Woo, we were rolling. And Lawrence said, "He's getting us. Throw out the evidence." I said, "What evidence?" He said, "The watermelon, stupid." He knew more about delinquency, I guess,
Yeah,
than I
that you
did.
did.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just,
You
I was just in
Yeah.
part of the mob.
Yeah, you was
So
bad.
we threw it, as we threw one, that little Falcon to go faster. When we dropped all 4 of them in ditches on that dirt road, we were moving on like
Got it in high gear.
high gear. Yeah, we were gone.
Well, Marvin, I tell you, we've used up a lot of time here with Brother Harry. I do want him to talk a little bit about his book. I want him to tell the people out there how they can get his book and what it's in, and tell us what motivated him to write the book, and just kind of give us a little bit of background on your book. We're not through with you, Ted. You're coming back, I promise you. But just give us a little background.
Okay, so the book is Amazon, so Kindle or paperback. Yeah, you got the book. So this was the deal. I grew up principal and a preacher's kid, and back then we went places with our parents, and we were told to go. And nowadays, and there was a time starting in probably the 70s that people didn't go. We don't want kids going to the wedding. We don't want them in church. We want them in youth worship, whatever. We want them. They can't go to a funeral. They can't see death. They can't see this. So now it seems like Instagram and TikTok's raising everybody. But back then you had to go. I mean, you went to the wedding, you kept your mouth shut and you sat, and you went to the funeral, and this was just life. So I went with him on a lot of life things, and we had a lot of, we had wakes, back in those days, had the wake in the bedroom where he wasn't awake. The only person awake were the people that were sitting with him, but in the bedroom, in the front room, out of the bedroom, you go from the bedroom to the living room and die in the living room, and that'd be the wake. But we had that kind of thing. I was exposed to a lot of things. So you have to come to, as a believer, you have to come to some kind of a judgment in your mind about how God lets people die when bad things happen to good people. And I went through a very poignant story in here about a drowning over in Moultrie. And it was a small child. And then I went through a chapter I called The Sovereignty of God. And everybody, we have to have a reason in our mind if we're going to be a believer of any sort as to what do we do with all this suffering stuff. And when we get to that point, I think we've not, I won't say figured God out, but we got an answer, and it's in the book. And I think this book kind of leads in that direction. We have a lot of families have a disabled child. We have a disabled grandchild now. And I've talked to a lot of people about it, about how they manage that. And, one guy explained it the best way. He said, "Man, when you look at that child and those shining, smiling face and those blue eyes, and you're wondering if he can even ever take care of himself, that is a redefined perfection, because God didn't make any junk,
Mm-hmm.
So it's a redefined perfection." That's Sarah's little boy there listening in Atlanta. Sweetest little angel you can imagine. He's 18 months. So that's somewhat in the book, but it was an answer to a lot. The book, me writing it, you write something, you put it out on paper. It was some answer to a lot of my doubts, and I put a good bit of humor in there and things, stories, and we would went to a lot of wakes. You want me to tell them?
Tell them one when you.
Yeah, so we got bored there, and it was a small house. Christmas lights were still on the eve. Poverty, sweet and kind people, salt of the earth. The man's there, and we got bored. Tom Sawyer, our age group back then, I'm going back to the 60s. Tom Sawyer was like a hero. We all wanted to be a little delinquent, kind of like Tom Sawyer, and go to our own funeral or whatever. But so we were bored in there. And
who is we?
My brother, we were bored in there. And I said, well, see if he's got on socks or shoes. No, I said, see if he's got on shoes.
Now, now explain that. He was laying in state.
He's in state with his, the top's open. There's in the casket, okay. And there's a drape where you can't see his feet. So I dared him, and I said, see if he got on shoes. Man, he went up there and moved that fabric and said, no shoes, socks, the kind we hate, Banlon, they fall down. And I said, great goodness. And he had touched that fabric. And, this is like Jacob Esau. There's a lot of competition there. And so I had to do, so I thought, what can I do? I got to one-up him, man. He's got me, and he's 4 years younger. And I was about 10. So I grabbed me a piece of juicy fruit gum wrapper and a pencil, and I wrote, let me out, I'm not dead. And I flipped it. It landed on the dead knee, past the drape, down. I flipped it, landed on the knee, and I sat down, crossed my arms, and told him, I said, top that one, big boy. And I figured I had gotten, one up, and I was gloating. You never think about the future as a child. The future is, 2 minutes away. And then, how am I going to get the note out? The room filled up with people. And I think, I ain't getting the note out. And we took off down the steps, and I looked over at him and mouthed there beside my parents. I said, if you tell them, I will kill you. And every day I came in from school, I said, Mama, have they buried so-and-so? No, they're waiting on people from California. I said, oh, God, I'm sorry. I will never put a note in a casket again. And then this thing came up at school that week about some kids were sent to Alto, some kind of a reform school in Alto, Georgia. I don't know where it is. Yeah. And I thought, well, that's going to be me. I'll be on the wing with people throwing notes in caskets. And pretty soon they buried him. Thank the good Lord. And then I got thinking, if I'd put a pin in there, would they thought it was real? I figured Tom Sawyer would have left a pin in it to further the story. But at any rate.
My gosh.
Well, Ted, I tell you, it's been a pleasure, man, being with us tonight. You have been enlightening. Yeah.
Floyd, I need to interrupt you. I did have a viewer, and I need to address this.
Okay.
He texted this question and said, ask Dr. Airy about the first enema he gave as an orderly.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you know that story?
Oh, yes, I know that story. Well, there's two, but one, I was actually training a boy, and I had not known how to do it about 8 days. And he said he could do it. So back then it was a 3H enema, which is hot, high, and a heck of a lot. So and now these are illegal in 3 states and 4 countries, but you would lay left side 500 cc's, right side 500 cc's, back 500. So you had 1,500 cc's in your body. And if you burped, depending on what was in the bucket, you burped salt or soap, whatever was chosen that night. And this little skinny fella, he was filled up. This friend of mine said, I know how to do it. So he did it, and the guy filled up the whole bucket. And that friend of mine reached over and unplugged the tube from the bucket and then dropped it and said, you can go to the bathroom. So the man goes to the bathroom, dragging this 3-foot-long tube from his posterior. So I said, you've got to remove that for him to go to the bathroom. He said, you're right. Oh, I forgot. So he reached down and it was still down there, on the ground. And he reached down and popped that tube like he was pulling in a flounder. And when he did, it was hydrostatic water pressure equivalent to the Hoover Dam and a huge 1,500 cc propulsion into the bathroom. And it was pretty messy. Yeah, pretty messy. And then we had to assure him that this was all normal, the patient, because thank goodness there was no family watching this ordeal. But we had to assure him this is all well and good. Everything's fine, because we could see our jobs disappearing. And we assured him, wished him well, and we run from that room.
Kenny, we're going to have to close you out. We're running out of time. But, man, it's been a pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed it half as much as we have.
Always fun
and our
telling
friends,
stories.
you see all our good friends here, popping
I
in there.
see
Melanie
that.
Mary
Look, my
Williams,
son-in-law,
Shelby Lee.
Shelby Lee, she's genetically related to me.
That's
Yep,
right.
that's right.
You got
Watching
all your
from Blue
fans here,
Ridge.
man. This is just
Melanie
some of them.
Williams from Myrtle Beach. She goes her and
Oh,
George
you
go
get
all
mad.
over the
If I had
world.
as
They
much-
ain't never in Concord.
If I had as much money as they had, man,
They
I
just
would never
flying
stay home.
everywhere. Michael Grant, love our little angel boy. Wales, that's right. That's
How about
right. Okay, love
got a
all
lot of-
y'all fans.
Got a
And,
lot of friends out there.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, Teddy.
Hey, y'all be sure to pick up a copy of his book, Hell, Fire, Brimstone, and Fried Chicken. You can get it on Amazon. You can order a hard copy or you can download it right there. Dr. Ted Airy. All right, guys, it's moving right along. It is trivia time right here on Charlie Platt and the Dirt Road Sports Show, brought to us tonight by Southern Hissy Fits on the Square in Colquitt, Georgia. All your embroidery, T-shirts, tumblers, gifts, and more. 109 West College Street on the southwest corner of the square. Give them a call, and they will hook you up with whatever you need customized. All right, time for our trivia time. The winner of our trivia time tonight will be a winner of an enamel campfire Charlie Platt, the Dirt Road Sports Show logo mug, and sponsored by Southern Hissy Fits. I need you to text your name and the correct answer to the phone number on the screen, 229-254-5060. And here is the question for the night. What was the name of the men's clothing store that put Elvis Presley in his first suit? What was the name of the men's clothing store that put Elvis Presley in his first suit? I'm looking for the correct answer. 229-254-5060 is the correct number. I need your name and the correct answer. And if you will, send that on over, 229-254-5060, and you will be the winner tonight. All right, boys, we got to pay some bills right here. Floyd, tell them a little bit about Ziggy.
Man, I was there the other day when I got my shrimp. I said Thursday is shrimp night for me and Nadine. Got them shrimp in there, peeled and deveined, brought them home, fried them, sauteed them in some olive oil. Eat them. They was absolutely sweet and fine. She had a whole case full of good seafood, just like you see in the picture right there. Some of the best looking catfish you ever saw in your life. Some of the best, cleanest, freshest seafood you'll ever get anywhere. I don't care if you live on the coast. You don't get it no fresher and no better than at Ziggy B's. Y'all go by Ziggy B's Seafood Market. She'll steam shrimp for you. She'll sell you some good steaks. She got some good oysters on the half shell, not on the half shell, but oysters in the shell. Oysters already shucked out. Bring them home, make your oyster stew. Do whatever you want to do. If you like fish, if you like seafood, go see Miss Ansley there at Ziggy B's Seafood Market in Colquitt, Georgia. Give her a call on a cell phone, 254-7115. Go see them. You'll be glad you did.
All righty. Okay, let's see here. All right. We have got a winner. We got a winner on our question for the night. It was what store or what clothing maker put Elvis did his first suit? And the correct answer is Lansky Brothers. Lansky Brothers. And we've got a winner. Memphis, Tennessee got a winner here, Miss Haley Hardy. Haley, if you will send me your address, then we will be glad to get you your cup put in the mail to you wherever you are. The winner again is Haley Hardy. Lansky Brothers was the name of the clothing store in Memphis, Tennessee that clothed Elvis Presley. Charlie, tell them a little bit about Outlaws Bussin' Barbecue.
Let me tell you, they're going to be opening soon in Bainbridge, the old Kmart shopping center. But you can catch them at various locations around the Wiregrass area, including March 25th, I believe it is, Marvin, over in our neck of the woods at the Dupree School. Gonna have a big, and I plan to be there, Bluegrass Festival. And it's to raise money to preserve that school. And everybody knows a little bit about Duke. We'll give you the information more about how to get there next week. But they're going to be down there cooking that great ribs that they have. They'll have a little bit of barbecue beans, of course, pulled pork sandwiches. Just the best barbecue you'll find anywhere in this part of the country. and that's going to be soon to be in the old Kmart shopping center building in that area, that shopping center complex, and they're going to have a sit down there. But you can go and enjoy them at various places. Just check them out on Facebook, and they will, of course, let you know where Outlaws Bussin' Barbecue will be from day to day, weekend to weekend. But on the 25th, folks over here in Southeast Alabama and Southwest Georgia, Northwest Florida, big Bluegrass Festival. And they'll have that great barbecue to go along with some great bluegrass music, Marvin.
Guys, we want to give a big shout out to Phillips Auto Parts and the Holstered 9 in Colquitt, Georgia. Johnny and Key Coffey, located right there on Highway 27 South. Their number's right there on the screen. They've been in business for several years now. Got a great auto parts business. You can buy any auto parts there, any kind of anything to do with auto detailing. They sell the rabbit pellet grills, the famous Floyd B. Lloyd rabbit pellet grills, and the rabbit pellets right there. I promise you, the folks that use these, they believe in them. They say they cook the best steak on the planet, and you can get those right there at Phillips Auto Parts. Also, the Holstered 9, brand new gun shop coming very soon. He will have guns, he will have ammo, and he will do gun repair. Let me tell you, we have seen the preliminary building. It is going to be out of this world beautiful, and it's going to be roomy, and he's going to have a huge selections of guns, ammo, and more. And that's going to be right there at Phillips Auto Parts and the Holstered 9 right here on Highway 27 in Colquitt, Georgia. Go see Johnny and Key as soon as you can. Tell them you saw them on the Dirt Road Sports and the Charlie Platt Show. All right, guys, let me get this ad off right here. All right, we've got only got two of you tonight, so I can only go for two different stories tonight. That is, but I got two interesting ones here that I would like to talk about that was on the news this week. Charlie, I'll go to you first. This was in the news this week. Ford Motor Company files a patent for systems that will repossess vehicles by locking features with self-driving capabilities. So basically what that means is if you don't pay your car payment, you might be in the drive-through at McDonald's and they will shut it down remotely from a satellite. 60 seconds. Tell me your thoughts.
Well, I guess they're doing that to, save lives. I really think because in this hostile society we're living in today, the repo man ain't too safe. Because over here in Alabama, just like Georgia, Meemaw done said everybody can tote a gun. You ain't got to have no license. Don't matter who you are, what you've done. Everybody can tote a gun. Everybody can tote a knife. So instead of the old repo man possibly getting shot at when he tried to get somebody's vehicle back, I guess he's gonna be pretty much safe now.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, hey, but listen, if you drive one of those vehicles and you're in the drive-through anywhere, or in the middle of the car wash, the automated car wash, and your payment is due, they're gonna shut you down.
Well, number one, I ain't gonna get approved for no payment on these overpriced cars and trucks anyway, so I ain't gonna worry about it, Floyd.
That's pretty
I
good.
won't be qualified on that.
That's pretty. All right, Floyd, here's yours.
Go ahead.
And guys, only on Charlie Platt and the Dirt Road Sports Show can you find these. All truth. Woman finds her husband's body while getting Christmas decorations from a closet 8 months after he went missing.
Marvin. Oh man, he was at home. He had deceased at home, and he was in the closet.
He
And she
committed
ain't married for 8 months.
he committed suicide and she found him. That was in April, and she had called the police and everything, searched for him. And 8 months when she was putting up her Christmas decorations, she found him in a hideaway closet in their home.
Great. She didn't smell him. Well, he must have been emaciated. Somebody
Ooh,
like, oh man, they give off an odor, aroma. Good man. Well, I will tell you, she wasn't looking for him. Is all I got to say. She was not looking for him. She was glad he was gone. She had done cash out the insurance check. She was glad he was gone. She was not looking for him. If she found him in the closet, she wasn't looking
Yeah.
for him.
8 months later,
So what?
hey, it's happening right here under our
That's
nose.
it.
It's that time once again. Time for Floyd's Short Lists and More. Brought to you by Berry Hill Auctioneers. Berry Hill Auctioneers, our sponsor in exclusivity and perpetuity of the great, the world famous Floyd's Short Lists and More. And now, please make welcome Mr. Floyd B. Lloyd.
Well, thank you, Marvin. I tell you, man, it'd be hard to top Dr. Airy there with some of those stories. I got some Bookie stories and Uncle Dump stories and Ain't Scrap stories, and they right up there. Dr. Airy he can hold his own with storytelling,
Mhm.
and hey, it got to be the truth because you can't make this stuff up. No way to make it up. But we're gonna start out with my ponderings. I've kind of created a new little niche here. Ponderings, Floyd's ponderings. That means when I sit down and start thinking about things. I like to be outside in my comfort zone under my magnolia tree, and I go to thinking about things, and I get overwhelmed with thoughts and with ideas and with thoughts and what's happening. And I got to thinking the other day. Nadine and I lived in a Muslim country in Saudi Arabia, in the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, for a year. I was working over there, and of course she couldn't work. She couldn't do anything other than stay home and be miserable. But well, she was a woman, you understand. But in Saudi Arabia and a lot of those Muslim countries, the man can marry four wives. If he can see after four wives, he can marry four wives. And it really ain't much seeing after a wife. I mean, basically what you do is you live in a house and she lives in a room and you live in the rest of the house, basically. So all you need, 4 or 5 rooms in the house, and everybody got their own room. But he can marry four women at one time. Well, I got to thinking. I think about it. Like I said, now four women. Okay, now, and the birth rate in Saudi Arabia, just like everywhere else in the world, probably 50-50, about 50-50, 50-50 girls, boys, 50-50 men, women. I got to thinking, I said, okay, now here these cats, these Muslim men, and they gonna marry four women. Well, they taking 3 women off the market for the available men. So I'm thinking now, what did these men do? Well, what did they do? I mean, how did they find love and affection? What did they do to find love and affection? And they had a lot of goats over there, and a lot of sheep over there, and that kind of stuff. But then see what got to happening with them. They got tired of that. They ain't got no women. They can't date. You can't be seen with a woman over there. That's illegal. You can't be seen with a woman unless she's your mama, your sister, or your wife, and they got to be in the back of the truck back there. So I got to think about it. I said, Y'all remember this started several years ago. Europe, France, Great Britain, Spain, Italy, Germany. There was just droves of young Muslim men coming to their country. Kind of like it is right here in the United States of America, where we got droves of Hispanic, Mexican, Guatemalan, Venezuelan, Brazilian, who knows who, young men coming to our country. They're coming in. No women, no women. They've left the women behind. But the Muslim men got tired of courting goats and sheep. So they decided, hey, man, look at him. We got to change this deal. So what they started doing was they come up with this idea. Said, I know what we can do. Let's all get together. Let's form big groups, droves of young men, and let's go to Europe. and there's all kind of them infidel Christian women in Europe available. And if they ain't available, we'll just cut the throats of the men who's there, and we'll take the women. And they solve their problem, because that's what's happening now. So you don't hear any kind of outburst or anything about it. I guess those folks in Europe over there, I guess they happy with it. Switzerland, Sweden, all them places like that, just overrun by Muslims. They moving the regular folks out and moving the Muslims into houses and hotels and setting them up. But I got to think about it. I said, that makes sense. They got it figured out. They heap smarter than we are. They got it figured out. They know how to manipulate folks like us. But I'll get started on my Floyd short list. It's a short list tonight. I just have not had time to really focus a lot on this. But anyway, it was Pentecostal preachers, and I missed. I feel remiss because I didn't last week. I didn't mention anything about the Pentecostal preachers. It's a short list. Pentecostal preachers that are trapeze artists.
Well, they can go to Ted's.
They go to Ted's. That's what I'm thinking. He's teaching them how to be a trapeze artist. Trapeze.
I got this bar caught in my.
I got it. Oh, mercy. Hey, Jesus. Y'all know these Generation Z's. You know the Generation Z's. They what they born in? They 25 to 26, 22, 20 to 26-year-old Generation Z's. Here's a short list for you on Generation Z's. I got two for them. Any Generation Z's out there that might be watching, I want y'all to pay attention to Floyd, what he's saying. Ain't making fun of y'all, just telling the truth. And anybody that got any kind of conflict about me telling the truth, call Marvin. He'll plug y'all into me. He'll shoot your number over at me. Here's Generation Z's that know how to grill a steak. When's the last time y'all seen a Generation Z grilling a steak? When's the last time you seen a Generation Z buying a steak? Paying for it with his own money. Hey, Dad, you catching the tab here, Dad? Oh yeah, I got it. Yeah. You get enough? Yeah. Get you a tea to go. Y'all remember how we used to when we were coming up when Nadine and I got married? We had a lot of friends. A lot of y'all out there listening to us. Y'all know what I'm fixing to talk about. We'd have fish fries. We'd have get-togethers. And they'd be, 15, 20 people. We'd be gathered. And we were young folk. We was 25, 22. Nadine he was younger than I was, and her friend. We'd have a fish fry. We'd have a cookout. I'm talking about. Generations. Here's a short list right here. Generation Z's that know how to fry fish.
Mm-hmm. What about fried mullet roe?
Yeah, whatever. Mullet roe who? Mullet roe what? Where mullet roe who? Huh? Yeah. Here one right here. RuPaul's drag queen shows. Oh, that's a big popular deal. I mean, it's all over the United States of America. They have them everywhere. Children, youngers have them at the libraries. Churches have them. Some churches have drag shows. It ain't a church, but they have them. RuPaul's drag queen shows that are scheduled for Afghanistan and Iran. Come on, RuPaul. Tell us when you go to Afghanistan with your RuPaul drag queen show. Tell us how that's going to work out for you, RuPaul, if you will. Here's one right here. It's a short one here. People on Martha's Vineyard that ever opened a can of potted meat and eat it with soda crackers and hot sauce. People on Martha's Vineyard. That's it for me, Marvin. I'm done. That's a wrap for me, baby. You need to take us on out of here while we got time, while we're still alive.
Here's our Charlie 7-day forecast for the tri-state area, brought to us by Ag Appraisals, equipment, livestock, and more.
I tell you what, if you hadn't been on a roller coaster ride with the weather here lately, get ready. We're fixed to go. You fixed to go on one this weekend. About an 80% chance of some light rain tomorrow. Cools down a little bit. Saturday got a sunny day with a high of 73. Then another 50% chance of rain, a lot of that coming in on Sunday night, early Monday morning. And then this is going to be, according to Jack Wingate, rest his soul, the last of the cold weather, possibly. We'll get down to about 35, 36 degrees next week. I've always heard that Jack told us, and Floyd can help me with this, if you see the pecan trees putting out leaves, there won't be any more freezing weather. We got pecan trees putting out leaves over here in southeast
Yep.
Alabama. So maybe
Yep.
the cold weather is gone, and we're going to be kind of smooth sailing right on up through Easter and possibly early spring to stay with us and an early growing season. We all need that. Thank y'all for letting us come into your homes. Enjoyed our special guest tonight. We'll be back here next week. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all taking time to join us. And we just ask that you pray for our nation. Don't take long watching any newscast you want to see that we're in a big, big mess. And prayer and the good Lord above is the only thing that will get us through it. Floyd?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Charlie. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed having our guest with us tonight. I appreciate it. He's a good friend of mine. He added a lot to the show tonight, and we will never forget him. And I just want to leave y'all with this. Always exercise your Second Amendment rights. You never know when you might need it. Have it if you need it. If you don't need it, keep it in your pocket. Always exercise your Second Amendment rights. Surround yourself with like-minded people. If you see somebody acting a fool, you get away from them as quick as you can. And be vigilant of your surroundings. Don't ever be anywhere where you don't know what's going on around you or unaware of what's going on around you. Get that thing right there. Get it out of your face while you're walking to your car. You're doing your texting. All that stuff can wait. All that can wait. You look what's going on around you. You look at the people that are around you and what's happening around you. Put that phone down. And when you lay down and go to sleep at night, you start thanking God above, God Almighty above that created everything. You start thanking him about what he's done for you today, just today. And you start telling him, you start naming it, and you'll be asleep and you'll still be naming things that he blessed you with. Good night, y'all. We love y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Marvin.
All right, guys. Hey, it's quite an honor for us each week. You invite us into your home or wherever you are for Charlie Platt and the Dirt Road Sports Show. You know we love you. Want to give a big shout out tonight to our special guest, Dr. Ted Airy. Be sure to pick up a copy of his book, Hellfire, Brimstone, and Fried Chicken, Growing Up Churched in the South. You can get it right there on Amazon.com. You can get you a paper copy or you can download a Kindle copy. Several of you have already called me or texted me and told me you've started reading it. I promise you, you won't be sad that you did it. We appreciate Dr. Airy tonight and appreciate him being on. Look forward to having him again on our show here on Charlie Platt and the Dirt Road Sports Show. Want to remind you, check out our good friend and our compadre, Dr. Matt Bracewell, and his podcasting, Creation and Compost, where he teaches biblical principles and homesteading on his podcast show. You won't be sad that you did. Check it out. I promise you'll enjoy it. Hey, Sunday's coming. You know what's happening. Sunday is the Lord's Day. I'm going to encourage you, give him your due. If you're where you can, get up, get dressed, go to church, and worship the Lord in truth and in spirit. Here's our scripture for the day. But in your heart, set apart Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect. Coming from the book of 1 Peter. Guys, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, we'll be right back here next week, same place, same time, for more Charlie Platt and the Dirt Road Sports Show. You know we love you. We appreciate you. Y'all have a blessed week. Encourage somebody this week if you will. And guys, no matter what you do in life, always, always, always be particular. We love you.
See you.